Фильм Франсуа Озона. По пьесе Робера Тома «8 женщин». Даниэль Дарье.
In this film, you will not see Catherine Deneuve and others alike. It will not be other actresses on set and respectively, not the characters whom they are playing. These are 8 other women, the real ones. Do not believe the writers, who claim that they make up stories. Life creates stories. Life illustrates the stories through people, and the people are everything that people have. This is simple philosophy. You are, you can't choose, and, by and large, there is always something to choose. And you, earlier or later, choose what will ultimately adjust you. Sometimes it breaks you. Meanwhile, everything starts in the same manner for everyone. It does not matter that someone is born in a shirt and someone without it. It is important that you state with absolute precision and crying, most similar to alarm going off, "I am here, I am already here." The easiest thing is to condemn, be it with a stroke of a pen or a word. But is it worth it? People think that bad things happen in other continents, at least on other streets. It is interesting. Why? Well, relax. Maybe this won't happen to you. Why you should scare yourself prematurely? There is a big but in this profession. This is not a tale. It is halfway to hell. Someone can stand it, someone breaks down. Perhaps it's pleasant for someone, but it may be extremely difficult for someone else. And going out to the street in a fine day, she may simply not come back. And that's it. I have this urge to come home, put up banners in every corner, wherever possible, and say to myself, "Stop, think what will be tomorrow, how you will be sick tomorrow." Zhenya, I would not say it's a pleasure. I would say it's a worm that is eating you up. I have never shown it to my children, but twice I felt extremely bad. This is what we call a person going down. I could have lost my life, but I told the kids that this has happened purely accidentally, and my heart could not bear. They called the emergency ambulance. Sure, I talked to the ambulance staff myself and asked them not to tell anyone, even my kids. Then, of course, the children understood everything. I go home extremely rarely. I practically do not talk to my family. I only come to take a look at the kid. Then, that's it, I leave. You are not bringing up the child? No, my mom is taking care of him. I am not. Of course, they are trying to change something, as if to change me, but I think that you can change when you are 32. I have tasted it all. I understood it, and as they say, I paved my path. And I was simply turning away from other things. Anything else did not suit me. I used to blow all the money, you know for what, because it does make you so high. Well, there is a question. This pleasure costs money. This pleasure regularly demands money. It demands, that's the point. You see, I used to try to get a gram and divided it at least 2-3 times. I had an income. I had my own business. I was working at a firm enriching artificial diamonds, and I always had the money. As they say, it would be stupid not to have decent income. When a person likes to get dressed, get everything from life that he wanted to get. What do? I'm a prostitute. It is not even a profession, it is a theater. Those people who do this, they say they are actresses. You have to be an actress to be a prostitute. If you are not an actress, you are not a prostitute. Let's say, I like to come to a fancy restaurant. Men offer me cigarettes. I say, I don't need it, I have my own. And I pull out fancy cigarettes. Someone may want to get me vodka. I say, no, I can buy it myself. It was interesting for me to act like a wealthy woman in a restaurant. I liked showing it off to the people, and I liked it. I could just blow my money so that people would look and say, what a woman. How can she hang out by herself, without men, without anyone?
За то, чтобы на меня люди смотрели и говорили, вот это женщина. Как она может отдыхать сама, без мужчин, без никого?
That's how it is. How many times have you quit? About 5 times. How long could you bear after you made the decision? I had quit for 5 to 6 times. Initially, I quit and would not do it because I felt that I am playing around with it. It's not getting hold of me, and I can have fun, and that's all. I could, say, snuff for a week because initially I was just sniffing it. I could inhale and then quit, not to do anything and not look for it like I am doing now. Now I feel bad. Now I feel what is pain and how it is reflected on a human being. Legs, waist and everything starts aching from heroin. Then I did not have it, and I didn't feel it. I thought further it would be just like that. I lived my life mostly alone. I built it for myself, and I am not disappointed, you could say. I will continue doing what I have done. I think so. Sure, so far I have time for this. I have at least 5 years. I hope that after these 5 years, perhaps I'll get a normal job, if I can find it. You see, now I'm 32. Talking about these 5 years, I'll be approaching 40 by then. I think to keep doing it is inconceivable when you are 40. This would be just silly. I think I will come down when I'm 40. After heroin, many got addicted to liquor and became alcoholics. I know many guys who have suffered it all. This is already an attempt to stun oneself, doesn't matter how. Yes, because many people have quit, even at home. They drank wine to go to sleep. They used to get up and go to sleep again. But I know those who had quit and did not use it for 5-6 years, but again relapsed. There are some who did not want to live because heroin sucks you into such a swamp and dependency that breaking through is immensely difficult. I have been at this institution for many years. You never been out? No, I have gotten out. Sometimes I go out. I go out to have fun, but I come back. I have been coming here for many years and no one ever said to me anything rude. Let anyone hear that it is my big family here and not there where I'm supposed to live. Is it because you're not branded here with anything? Never. No one is branded with anything here. You live here like how you're supposed to live. You are your own boss here. The people here are attentive. They can listen to you. They may advise something and pat on your back. You can sob on their shoulder. They will understand you and caress you like their own child. I have never experienced this kind of warmth in my own family. When I come in here, I come in with a smile. I'm not saying this is home, sweet home. I am saying that I am calmer here. I get rest here from everything I had been doing and all the stress that is out there. When I come here, I get rest. It is my getaway, my resort.
Мне здесь от душа, я от всего, вот как я работаю, там где-то хожу, это все равно это нервы. А когда я сюда приезжаю, я отдыхаю. Санаторий мой, курорт.
I understand that somewhere there will be something unpleasant, and adventures are not always pleasant. I wake up, open my eyes, and I am ready. Here I am, take me, my day. What is it like when injecting drug user wakes up in the morning? Like a nightmare, like the first dreadful day. If you know that you do not have anything you could have done, when you know that you woke up and you have the supplies, you won't have the pain. Certainly, you take the shot and say, that's my day. And when you get the thrill, of course you feel somewhat elevated and dignified. Now it seems to me that this is the end, that's it. But again, honestly, Zhenya, I'm so afraid and doubtful. I don't know.
Вот сейчас мне кажется, что вот это конец. Вот сейчас. И то опять-таки, Жень, я так боюсь, я, честно говоря, боюсь и сомневаюсь, и не знаю, что...
Ну, у нас как говорят, будет день и будет пища, жизнь не торопи.
Well, how do they say? If there is a day, there will be food. Do not hasten the life. How is it my tomorrow? Get up, bring myself in order, clean up at home, fix something to eat, if there is food to make in the first place. Think about what will be the day after tomorrow. Look into my purse, where sometimes there is something or nothing. Where is my life? I live practically alone. I live by myself. I have been living, I am living, and I will live by myself further on. I did everything how I could, be it good or bad, but I did it myself. I made my choice long time ago, and I will not change my decision for a while. I look at the mirror from time to time. I decided that there is still some time and I can keep going. You made a choice at a certain point. You were led by your curiosity. This is a choice. Yes. Was the curiosity worth it? I told you that I think it was worth it, when you find out what it really is. On one hand, you know when you get up and start feeling the pain, and you know that you don't have it, and it starts aching, and only then you start to realize, why is it happening that way? Why couldn't I quit? Why? But I didn't think I would end up addicted. You see, Zhenya, I wasn't thinking. Why people raise so much fuss over search for notorious meaning of life? This very meaning emerges itself in the majority of cases. Here are two live examples, and I think both are happy, regardless of what you and I think about them. Any work has its own difficulties. Well, anything may happen in our work, but I do like my job very much. You see, you cannot escape your fate. If I was destined to go through this, not now, but after many years, I would have gone through this. I graduated from Tashkent State University. I came here, probably it is family tradition. My dad used to work in this system, as they say, succession. A dynasty? Yes, dynasty. Yes, my family members had convictions. Dad, twice for accidents. Dad's brother for hooliganism while he was a minor. Do you have your own family? Not this big one, but your own, small one. Yes, I do. I'm a happy mother. I have 2 sons, a husband. My family is very solidary. Of course, it is difficult, but I am managing both the work and family. I can handle it. He told me, or you keep quiet, as I did it all for you, for the family, for the mother, or you will end up the same way. He knew that they would lock him up because they got him in 12 days. What could I have changed?
Что я могла изменить? Что я могла изменить?
It turns out that you care about them here, even looking forward to the future a bit. You prepare the ground for them. Of course. Currently I am working as a chief inspector for employment and social rehabilitation of the convicts. I started then as a leader. Women were always considered to be home custodians, and you here bear the double burden. He knew that I am a person of honor of my work. He saw it in my deeds. He simply asked me a question: what if he will be between life and death? Can I help him, extend my arm? And I said yes. Don't you think that when he was asking, he assumed, or let's say he knew for sure, that the situation would turn out that way? Then I didn't think so. Now, yes, I'm sure. I'm responsible for every inmate, for his life after release from our penitentiary institution, how he will start up, where she will live, help her to readapt into the society so that she would not relapse into crime, and helps them based purely on humane principles. How long will it be when you meet him again? Probably 33, 34, if I wanted to meet him. You don't want to meet him? Not at all.
Корабли уплывают, и парус их вряд ли печален. Как навряд ли печальна волна, умирая в прибое. Море тоже не плачет, как стоит.
Choice is defined as the preference for something at the expense of something else. And sometimes the expense exceeds the preference by so many times that you start thinking how rightfully you made the choices. Was this choice prepared by fate or at the cost of life? I had to choose between understanding of the fact that I am breaking someone's life and essentially breaking the life of my child, because he asked this question and he still does. He asks me, "Do you feel sorry for Dad?" I told him that his dad died. We did not discuss the details, but he knows. He even makes up some gangster stories. He says gangsters kill him. He wanted to think that way. Sometimes he asked who he was. We always choose something. I had to choose once to have a child or not. I cannot say it was so clear a choice. These were unclear emotions to me. I thought I was a media of some sort. Until the child was born, I was choosing him. And for a while, until I was not emotionally bound to the child, I was not putting him above my beloved man. Love for the child cannot be compared to the love for a beloved person, for a man. This is impossible to conceive. They are not compatible. They are simply that different. You just have to split your heart by half when you choose. I don't know whether this exuberance with the liability for those whom we tame. It is not as much desire but a civil position to defend what you love, at least that minimum that surrounds you. Because I believe that I have nothing to lose, I am so hysterical about the child. With this choice, it turned out to be more difficult to be with them further on. Because I would like to give the child more in financial terms, but this means time, this means nerves. Sometimes I know that I do not adequately treat him. I am not always attentive to him. Say, falling asleep, I understand that again I did not ask him anything. That is my dog-like choice of the life I invented for him and for myself. At that point, when I left, I was living for about 10 days in illusions that he would now come and take me away on a white horse. So there is this female illusion. That's all going to happen now. Then was the second thing, to understand that I have already left. That is, after 10 days I understood that I had already left, and I had to play it to the end. I could not formulate the accuracy of my choice. I never thought it was his choice, that he could not manage the situation, because throughout the whole of a joint life, I believed I was responsible for his deeds, and I assumed that choice of his onto myself. And I believed that I always was revisiting the situation I have been thinking, where I did wrong, why he did that way. It was about after months. By that time it already seemed to me, and I was looking at him slightly differently. He had started to disappoint me. Because he stayed the way he was, and my last imagination of him as a character was living all that time. That naughty and disobedient boy, now he fell apart. I believed we did many immature deeds for each other. I came back from abroad, he divorced his previous family, and now we can split up as adults. But we could not split up as adults. There were these stupid calls, blames. There were some belongings still left, and I was supposed to come, let's say, on Saturday. But he came Friday night. He rang the bell. Certainly I did not want to see anyone at 4:30 a.m. And I understood, well, that he was not sober. When I let him in, the scandal started. I made him call his mom and say he was at my place. She offered to come over and take him away. In my turn, I thought it would be too much of impressions in one night. The child woke up and cried. Then we moved to the kitchen. We started talking. I was making coffee. Of course, we were talking about unpleasant things. Then threatening he would not let me live in peace and he would do it all by himself. He jumped out of the window in my back. When I ran downstairs and saw him, knowing he was not sober, I thought he was asleep because no terrible injuries were seen on him. And I tried to wake him up. He would not wake up. When the emergency ambulance arrived, and as we were en route to the hospital, they said he was in a stuporous state, when a person simply snores. It seemed to me he was snoring. It was a wheeze of some sort, not snoring. On the second day, as he was in acute care, and I was allowed to see him the only time and I saw him, they said it was a harsh scene. But I believed the worst was to come. It is good that I didn't see him dead. I was not allowed to the funeral. When you see a grave, you see neither death nor coffin, either alive or a grave. He was then in bandages, corset, and had high temperature. His hand was hot when I took him by the arm. At that moment I was between what I understood that complicated surgeries they performed and what he was waiting him had survived would be better off for him. I understood perfectly well that he would be numb. At that moment, it seemed to be that he'd better die. It is terrible, honestly. In the meantime, I felt terrible in these 2 days, when they told me he passed away. Maybe for him it was better, but for whom it is better? For the orphan child? He was a father at least. And now, when there is no time, you are working there and stuff. And I understand that he was basically a loafer, but he'd better spend the time with the kid. At least some sort of boy communication between 2 sons of mine. Sometimes it seems this is right. That the kid did not have to see our failing relationship. Probably, I would not want my son to see I am being humiliated. In the meantime, that minimum time that I spent with him neither lets me to see him as a personality, nor for him to see me. I don't know, maybe when he grows up a bit, but again, this is my excuse. He will grow up and I start talking to him. He will grow up and I start asking him, what is going on? Will I not lose him while I am providing him this well of life? Because it is the same myth that I lived with, and the one called father. It seems he was spiritually closer to me. That is, it seemed I know him better.
Теперь это то, что выберем мы, раз выбрать решили.
It is typical for a human being to review and mainly regret about what was done a year or 10 years ago. But unfortunately, it is never feasible to say accurately whether your choice will affect you or kill you. I was a stupid girl. In my age of 17, I did not realize it. He could simply grab me by the feet, pull down from the couch and drag on the floor. He was not a good man, particularly when he was high on anasha. Then, when I gave birth to my daughter, he was still humiliating me all the way and beating me up. I forgave him everything, and I thought that our child was growing. How could it be without a father? Only then I understood that he was an egoist, indeed a sadist. And when I had syphilis, I was virtually cut off. Then I met Yura. We got married a lot later when our son was born. Elder daughter Rita was older and was attending kindergarten. I was working at 2 jobs. I could not braid my hair or hold a cup in my hands were swelling. It was so difficult for me with him. Meanwhile, he was drinking and adulterating. I'm pregnant, plus children, where can I go? Furthermore, I am older than him. I have a daughter. He always used to say, kids, I do not need grandchildren. I won't let them live anyway. Coming home from bazaar or from Almaty, she would throw things. For her, I was nobody. Then they would tell everything to Yura on my back. She very much liked to visit fortune tellers. She used to visit voodoo places. Then a woman said that she was digging a hole for herself and dug a grave. She was killed. Along with her 20-year-old daughter. They taunted the daughter. The mother was decapitated. He never helped me. Sometimes, when he visits the kids, they used to ask him to stay at his place for a while, but he always refused. Meanwhile, the children long for him, and for some reason, they want to get along with him. I brought up my children already. Yura was very mean to me. When he went to Alma-Ata for some business, he hooked up with a woman there. And he had so many mistresses here. Once I come to work and there are strangers at my spot. I told them it was my spot and they told me that Yura had sold the spot to them. I was shocked. Sold? How? I went home with my bags. Meanwhile, there was his pregnant mistress standing. So, how it turned out at the bottom line? He's not living with her. That woman also has a son growing up. After breaking up with Yura, I waited for him for too long, and I tried to convince him to come home. Then I was not drinking, not a sip. I have never had it. I used to send my daughter to the shop. Then I used to ask the older daughter to take smaller children away from home. I felt that bad, then I drank. Sob.
Степени на душе плохо было. Уйдут они, да, выпьют, да, набухаюсь, наревусь, как скотина.
Then I go to sleep and that's it. And I wake up again in the morning. Again children, again problems.
Конечно, опять дети, опять свои проблемы.
Есть такие же бабушки, как я. Прошли они, как говорится, огни и воды.
There are grandmothers like me here. As they say, they went through fire and water. They experienced the same. I feel easier and better with them. There I felt worse. There was a 3-year-long school of telecommunications in Ryazan. I graduated from this school. It was 1941, when I just graduated, that the war started. I was drafted. They said they would send me to the battlefront. When our communications would break after German bombing, our unit commander used to send us to reconnect it. The commander advised us to crawl, not walk. I used to crawl, find the rupture and reconnect it.
Нам командир говорил, вы не пешком идите больше, а ползите. Вот ползу, найду эту линию, где порыв, вот, и начинаю ее ремонтировать. У меня орден Отечественной войны есть, у меня орден, медалей много есть.
I have World War II order and medals. They are all at home now. I have lost some of them and my kids took others somewhere.
Ну есть. У меня было один раз, когда я ремонтировала эту.
Once when I was again reconnecting the telecom line, I was confused. Confusion is when you don't hear anything and your tongue doesn't move. I thought I would stay deaf and mute at this young age.
Не говоришь. Я думала, что я глухая и немая, осталась такая молодая.
When we came to the unit, the doctor said it would pass. Indeed, it did.
Это все пройдет. И правда. Сын.
My son served in the army. He is my only one. I brought him up alone. He was a good boy. But after demobilization, he started drinking. He became a real alcoholic. He got married and had 2 children.
Самый настоящий стал алкоголик. Женился он. У него 2 детей было, и он до того.
He used to get so drunk that once he and his friends got into a car accident in alcoholic intoxication. And he died.
Она мне прислала оттуда письмо сюда на этот.
His wife wrote me a letter into this boarding house that she got married to someone.
Вышла замуж за другого, дети со мной, его похоронила, вот все. Я ему говорила, его слава была.
My son's name was Slava, and I used to ask him, what happened? You were such a good boy, you went to the army, you did not drink or smoke, but coming back from army service, got yourself bad company. You started drinking. He used to say, Mom, please don't ask. No need to talk about it, I'll quit, I won't. But he didn't quit anyway.
Про это говорить, я брошу, я не буду, я брошу. Так он не бросил. Мне от военкомата дали 2-комнатную секцию. Там, в этой, в Каракал.
The military authorities granted me 1-bedroom apartment in Russia. Then my vision started deteriorating.
Мне
I went to see an oculist for examination, and perhaps I needed surgery. But the doctor said surgery was not needed, but it needed to be treated. It was all because of nerves. The doctor prescribed me medications. I had eye drops, but to no avail. I even was afraid I would go blind. I went to Social Security office, and a young man listened to my problems. I asked him to send me to the boarding house, and the young man was surprised. You have one-bedroom apartment. You're living, okay? I was then working. Let someone in, let them help you. But I said I can no longer keep the home clean or do laundry. I was denied. I went there 3 or 4 times. At last I succeeded.
Я бы вам не советовал. Потом я 2-й раз пришла, 3-й раз пришла, и все-таки я добилась.
I've been living here for a long time, for 20 years. Now I'm 84. There was a man, a factory engineer, where they manufacture planes. One side of his body was paralyzed, one arm and one leg. He was younger than me. He used to say, "Let's live together. They will provide us a separate room to live." I declined. Then I did not want to get married. Why? I came to a boarding house not to get married. I'd better live alone. Then he was fully paralyzed and he died. He was a good man, a good-looking, smart and knowledgeable. Why didn't I marry him then? Now I regret it, because he's not around. Who needs me now? No one needs me. Now I need someone to help me, at least a little bit.
Погружаясь в бездну чистой трелью, я в полете расправлю руки.
Dipping into abyss, I let myself go. Maybe then I can be a flawless form.
Я раньше увлекалась большим теннисом. Потом мне очень нравилось рисовать. У меня целый альбом рисунков. А сейчас я занимаюсь танцами. Мне очень нравится танцевать. Сегодня я хочу стать танцовщицей.
Before I used to like drawing. Now I want to dance. I want to live my life under a spotlight.
Я хочу прожить свою жизнь ярко.
Let's say our 8 women are not as popular as those who François Ozon had collected, but the theme and the objective were a bit different. Our heroines. This is a courage in pure form. Regardless of how their life would actually was turning at that point, they know who and the reason, and implications of every moment.
В тот момент, когда работа над фильмом находилась в стадии монтажа, Светлана скончалась. Причина – цирроз печени. Съемочная группа выражает глубокие соболезнования семье Светланы.